There is nobody that Vince has to compete with right now, and when there's nobody to compete with, it's the same. It's the SOS, Jose. You know.
Yeah, and you're right, and that's my biggest problem. And that's the reason why I said, hey, I hope that TNA does get there. I hope that they bring an impact to their programming, and say, hey, maybe we can get those fans that are like the old WCW guys. Maybe we can recreate the NWO some form of way, but creating stables is an elite thing. It's something special. You just don't put a bunch of guys together because they're big names in this industry and say, look, we have a new stable.
Well, they did it with DX. They did it with DX, and the only way to find out if it's going to work is if you do it. You know what I mean? So if you put it, I think the Main Event Mafia, that faction right now is unbelievable. I think the work that faction has done over the past few months, ever since they debuted that, what was it, at the live show in Las Vegas that they did. I think the Main Event, maybe the front line, yeah, that lacks a little bit right now, but I think the Main Event Mafia, as far as that faction, I think that's excellent right now, excellent. And then I think you bring a bunch of former ECW guys in, and I think that's another good fact. It depends, which way they go with it, but I think that's a good start to a faction that maybe, you say that, the hope is that the people will tune in to TNA on Thursday nights. But what do they have to do to get people like you? You know what I mean? You're not tuning in on Thursday nights yet. It may take something. It's got to take something to get you tuned in, and what that is, I'm trying.
I couldn't even tell you.
I know. I don't think you can. I don't know what it is, but I got it. Man, I don't know. One of these days, man.
But I can say this much though. I'm definitely not one of those bandwagons. So if TNA does start doing threes, it's like I'm gonna watch TNA now. It has to be something that's really intriguing, something that's like a little bit more. Why do I watch Raw? I watch Raw for since I was a kid, so it's
I know.
You know what I'm saying? It's like a religious thing, but I'm not afraid to cut the show if it sucks. I'm not afraid to hold back and say, you know what in the heck was Vince thinking? But if you don't watch the main event on TV and you have it on the freaking pay-per-view.
We gotta get you to tune that TV station on Spike TV Thursday, because I know you don't watch it that often. You catch it every now and then.
My TiVo records it. It's on my season ticket. So my TiVo records it every single Thursday. It's just a matter of me downloading it onto my computer and watching it for 2 hours.
Yeah, and we've got to get you to do that. We've got to get you. Maybe it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's you tune in 1 week and you say, you know what, I don't like what I saw. I'm not going to tune back in, or I'm not going to watch it. Maybe if you give it 1 week, if you don't like what you saw, give it another week. If you don't like what you saw, 1 more week, 3 weeks. 3 weeks of television, so that you can get a basic understanding for the storylines, which are constantly changing. You know what I mean? Just a basic understanding where maybe we can get you into at least one or two of these storylines that you're interested on Thursday. You know what I mean, dude? You know what I mean?
No, and it's understandable. Because there are some storylines that caught my attention. Like me, I'm a big Abyss fan. I just love his ring work. I love the way he's aggressive. Kind of reminds me of the old school Mankind, Cactus Jack. Granted, every single pay-per-view he throws up some thumbtacks, which is kind of getting a little boring. But it's just he's unpredictable. You don't know what the man is going to do next, and that is what I start liking, the reality of life, and the way how they sell it. I see TNA, and I'm like, great, another story. And same thing with Raw. I even say Raw. Same thing with Raw. Oh, great. You got the Three Stooges running around looking for people. You know what I mean? I watch it because I've learned to watch it. I've grown up watching it. It's something that I'm going to watch regardless religiously. TNA, it's still a new product. Yeah, granted, they've been around for 5 years or so, but it's still a new product. And when I see something that I'm like, great, another stable, I'm just like, all right, whatever. I don't give it an opportunity, just like anything else on TV. If it's a TV show, that's a reality show, and I'm hooked on it, and then I'm hooked on it. And then there's another one that's almost the same thing, but they're kind of really weak, in the reality base and the way how they put the show on, I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah, just when I watch guys in the main event mafia, the Kurt Angles or the Kevin Nashes, and those backstage promos they do with Jeremy Borash or in Jeff Jarrett's office or in Mick Foley's office, and it doesn't insult my intelligence. Where if I see a John Cena who goes out there and writes the word poopy or something like that on a limo, a JBL is poopy or so. I mean, stuff like that. But listen, both companies have their perks. They have their ups, they have their downs. TNA's got some stuff that's absolutely, it does insult my intelligence. You know what I mean? But WWE does the same. And when I have to put them together,
absolutely.
when I have to put them together and I have to say, you know what insults my intelligence more? WWE's Monday Night Raw program or TNA Impact's Thursday Night program? I got to say WWE's Raw program.
And I agree with you. Which you're probably a little shocked that you heard that, because I agree. Like I told you, I will rip the show if it insults my intelligence, and this past Monday's was all about insulting people's intelligence. But again, TNA is different. They have a little bit more of an edgier. They have a little bit more of a PG-13, writing concept behind it. So you get, rather than hearing the four-letter word, you hear poopy. But again, you're watching a TV show. You're gonna watch Tom and Jerry. Well, you know what? You're gonna watch a cartoon. You know what you're gonna expect in the cartoon. You're not gonna see Jerry, nailing Tom with a chair that's inflamed in fire. You'll see that on Ren and Stimpy or something like that, because again, it all depends who you write for. Right now, WWE is writing PG.
Oh yeah,
and it sucks.
For the
I want to see the DX chop block. I want to see the flipping of the fingers. I want to see the attitude. But right now, those are the people who are not spending money. Those are the people watching UFC. Those are the people watching MMA. And right now, Vince is going to say, you know what, I'm not going to go that direction because I can't compete with that. And if he competes with it, he's going to get his ass kicked and he's going to bruise his ego. And that's just true.
Yeah, but you know what? He competed with the NFL too, right? With the XFL, and that's slugged.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, as far as MMA is concerned, it seems like the only one these days that can survive is UFC. I mean, they are just so far above everyone. I mean, Affliction, right? They're about to run their last show coming up here. They've got a huge main event with Josh Barnett and Fedor, which is going to headline that show. But that's going to be their last event. You know what else on that show is? I don't have his last name. It's Tom Atencio. Atencio, I believe, is he's the vice president of Affliction, and he's a younger guy. He's actually going to fight on that final card. The vice president of the company. It'd be like Stephanie McMahon, or it'd be like Shane McMahon going out there and actually fighting in a real MMA match if they owned a company. So Affliction's got the last show. Elite XC went out of business. Strikeforce is going to be back on CBS here. Well, Strikeforce bought Elite XC. They got their fighters. So Strikeforce is kind of the only one that's around, and all the rest of them are indie league stuff. You know what I mean? Like HDNet. I mean, they're all right. They've got some sort of TV deal, but all the rest, like JBL's new thing, what is the Viper Fight League? I mean, good luck. Good luck. You know what I mean?
It's UFC rules the MMA industry as WWE rules the wrestling industry.
And as far as where I was going with that, I mean, I'm way more of a UFC fan than I am with pro wrestling, and that's back in the '90s. I know UFC wasn't as big, but the Attitude Era, I was a huge fan back in that day. You know what I mean? And
I mean, that's the stuff, and that's the reason why you like TNA so much than sometimes than WWE. It's because they write and cater to more of the older adults or young adults. They write more towards the 18 to 35, the 8 to 15, which is what we're seeing on Raw.
Whenever we bring up WWE and TNA, we always have this big long debate that goes on and on and on. One of these days, Jose, one of these days, my man, one of these days. Hey, we got Callie live on WZR Radio. What's up, man? Callie? I think Callie goes away. Like, I think he listens to the show on the phone or something, and then he goes away. And because we've had that a couple times. Or maybe it's not the same guy. Who knows? I don't know. Outlaws, live from the chat room here on WZR Radio. What's up, man?
Yeah, I heard that Tommy Dreamer supposed to be the new GM on ECW.
It's possible. It's possible. Jose, have you heard about this, man? Tommy Dreamer as the new general manager on ECW. His contract is expiring here in a few months, and I think it all depends on what he decides to do. That's just real early talk right now from what I'm told. Jose, you know anything more about that?
It would be most, the more